In an ideal world, we all love to have fantastic bosses. Maybe we've even had some great bosses in time past, but you have a boss right now that you're having issues with, and you assume that our boss is supposed to help your career journey and help you be a better person or what have you. But the truth is, sometimes you're dealing with a difficult boss, either from a micromanager or somebody that has aggression issue or shows a lot of favoritism. Whatever the case, today I'm going to be sharing a few tips that could help, manage these difficult bosses. The first things first is be sure you're dealing with a difficult boss. It's important for us not to just jump to assume that they're difficult, right? It's important to ensure that we have enough examples or evidence to show that they're difficult boss. And sometimes you even just want to imagine. You want to imagine, giving reasons or giving trying to permutate a reason why they've done what they've done. And if you were in that situation, you would have done better, right? Given that same context, that situation, it helps you decipher if they're a really bad person or it's just a situational thing. And that's important. Before you want to fix or go and try to fix something that is not broken, be sure that thing is broken. It's key. The second thing you need to do is, you need to understand their motivation. What is their motivation? Why, especially in extreme situations, why are they doing the thing they're doing? What is key to them? Could it be that the issue is not exactly what you do, but how it makes them look or feel in the department, or with their line manager, right? It's important you understand their motivation and what gets them mad or gets them to act that way. It's key. And once you discover it, it sometimes helps to help manage these people better. Another key, very important factor, the third factor actually, is never let it impact the quality of your work. If possible, especially when you've done a proper diagnosis and you see you are not the issue, ensure that doesn't affect your work. You're paid to do a job, and it's critical you do the job very well. I know it's not easy. I know sometimes it can be very difficult, but be very clear about your deliverables and deliver excellently as much as is within your power because that's what you're paid to do, right? Don't allow it impact, your relationship with other managers or other directors. That's very critical, right? Very important. So the next point is to act as a leader, especially when you're dealing with an incompetent boss, right? Who doesn't know, who doesn't exactly know how to do their job effectively. Hey, in this situation, you're not trying to cheat them their job, but you're going to take that leadership posture where you take the initiative to do things, on your own, and you show that you are a leader. And don't forget that one of the great qualities of a great leader is ability to influence. And so the result is showing by your leadership traits and quality. And more often than not, when you're truly acting like a leader, you're acting like the better person in terms of taking the higher road in doing whatever you're doing and putting initiative in all the key deliverables, that we have both or you both have agreed on. And so that's very important. Another critical angle to look at this is especially when you're dealing with a boss that has anger issues, is to identify their triggers. Know what the triggers are. If you're dealing with a boss that every time you discover, for example, every time you make a mistake and there's an error in that document, a spelling error, they they're triggered. And what does that mean? It means that every time you want to send a document, you need to double check it, triple check it. I once dealt with a boss like that, and I had to do my research and even had to pay for a software that helped me, in that particular aspect. And so I didn't have any error issues around spelling. So you need to check things like that. Your boss is always triggered when you come late, then avoid to come in late by all means, because that's their trigger, right? And you want to manage it from that angle. And the last thing I'll share with you, maybe not the last thing, the second to last thing I'll share with you is, never to talk bad about them, especially in ways that when you are confronted, you'll not be able to stand up and speak up. Sometimes when you're dealing with a terrible boss and it gets a very detrimental situation or position, yes, you probably want to bring your line manager's boss or HR involved, especially if it begins to affect your mental health. But you must have been seen to have done all the things you need to do and do it right, right? So don't go around in the department talking trash about them to their colleagues or to other people because words go around. and you don't know when to get it done. So you want to manage that situation as best as possible. And the final thing I want to, share with you is, you know, seek out some of those fantastic EQ, emotional intelligence tips, or even cap counseling session tips that you've learned in dealing with people, right? And being very things like being very clear, being assertive, you know, treating them with respect, and yet being able to speak to the issue and not the individual, addressing the issue and calling some of those things out. You know, in managing people, it can be very difficult, because human beings are complex, but your ability to learn some of those dynamic qualities and traits and wisdom and nuggets to deal with difficult people would help you. The way you want to improve your relationships, the way you want to improve on different aspects of your life, that intentionality is required in managing a difficult boss. And so it requires sometimes to get help. And that's very critical. I hope you'll be able to get some very important value from this talk today. If you have, and you have further questions, please feel free to DM me or reach out to me. We can walk through this directly. But my ask today is to like this, share this, send it someone who may be dealing with this situation. This, I understand, helps this channel grow. I promise to keep coming back with wonderful content. Until I meet you again, do have a beautiful time. Take care. Bye.